Hi, this is Paul from computingforever.com, and today I'm going to review the Cowon D3, which is a personal media player. I picked this up off eBay fairly recently, and initial impressions are quite good. It's reasonably large, very similar to a phone. In fact, it's actually an Android-based media player. So in many respects, if you've used a HTC anything, then it should be very familiar to you. Quick look at the overall packaging. It's pretty light. It's actually lighter than you might think, but overall it still feels quite good in the hand. Controls are fairly minimal. You have volume control, plus and minus. You have pause and play, and then you have the usual shuffle keys, so you want to go backwards or forwards. Small complaint here, these buttons all feel the same under the hand. There are slight edges on the center button, but certainly not enough to be really recognizable. So as it's a media player, I would have to be quite critical there. Something that you would usually carry around in your hand or reach into a coat pocket to maybe adjust the track you're listening to. So it's a little lesson to be learned there. Maybe those buttons should be probably shaped differently. So on the back we have speaker outlet. This thing does have a speaker, unlike some other media players. It's a 32 gig device. On the top we have basically some blanking plates. On the bottom we have the connector, so we have a USB connector that goes in the bottom here. I'll show you that now. Surprisingly, it's actually a proprietary Cowon USB connector, which is unusual. The headphone socket is here, and then we have a DC in 5-volt connection. Again, another surprise, and a mic. Reason why I'm surprised is because usually most players and even phones are charged from the same USB data connection, whereas this device actually has its own charger, which is quite strange. But on the front we have a nice capacitive touch screen. We have 3 buttons. We have a back button, a Windows button, and a home button. I'll just show you the cable that I was talking about here. So here we have the Cowon proprietary USB connector. Not sure what they were thinking here, but the cable is a completely different colour to the device, which smacks of lack of attention to detail. But however, the power supply is this device here, quite chunky, and a small pin. Another small complaint here, this fits in here, but it's actually quite loose. It's not a very positive connection, so it feels a little bit like it's not connected, and it can take a while for the power supply to show up, to be indicated on the screen, so you're never quite sure if it's charging or not. But anyway, so that's a quick look at the device. Let's take a look at the actual menus on the machine. Now this would be Cowon's premium device. There's an unlock button here. Actually, I forgot to mention there's an SD card slot. So this device has 32 gigs of RAM, and you can put another 32 gig SD card in here if you have one. So let's unlock the device. Pretty interesting. You've got the date, which is actually set wrong. You have a slide to unlock, and quite a nice screen. Actually, the screen is one of the stronger points on this device. If anybody has an Android device, then they'll be very familiar with these kind of gestures. So you have a little indicator at the bottom to show you that you're on the center screen. You can swipe to the left, which gives you access to some widgets that are pre-installed by Cowon. So you have a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth screen adjustment. If we go even further, you have a calendar, which again I said is set wrong. You have some kind of a photo widget which just rotates through, showing you different pictures. Going the opposite direction, you have a Google search bar, because this device has internet connectivity, it has Wi-Fi, it also has an Android web browser, so it's pretty familiar to anybody who's used it before. And on the left here, another widget which shows you basically an album, and there are some controls here. This is really an afterthought. On the top you have clock, power, and the Wi-Fi indicator. On the bottom you have some indication of how much space there is left on the device. So I said this is a 32 gig device. There's roughly 10 gigabytes left, so 35% storage left. So going back to the home screen, you have this kind of nice weathery widget. It's a bit of a gimmick, but if you tap on that, you see that you can have that picture if it's spring, so spring is April, May. In summer the picture changes in June and August, and in September, November and so on. Again, a bit of a gimmick. Of course, this really is all about music and videos, so let's take a look at the music application. So Cowon would be known for very high quality audio. For those who don't or who've used other machines, this one is capable of playing almost any format, including FLAC. So if you want high bitrate lossless audio, then this is certainly something to look at. The interface I find is quite muddled. For example, if you we're looking at an album here, if you want to go back and look at a list of albums, then pressing this return button doesn't work. You actually have to select this arrow up at the top here, which actually looks like a part of the background image, which doesn't make a lot of sense. You can play audio files at 1x speed, or you can go and you can adjust that, so you can actually go and play them slightly slower or slightly faster, which I don't know why you would need that, but it's certainly an option. The usual controls, you can go backwards and forwards, you can play and pause. You can go to the graphic equalizer. Now this is probably the most powerful feature on the device. We have a graphic equalizer symbol here, and that unlocks the BBE sound chip settings. So you have here some default user settings, and then you have what's called BBE, BBE Viva, and I have selected BBE Mach 3 bass. Now you can really get quite powerful adjustments on this machine. There are a lot of them: rock, jazz, classic, ballad, a lot of presets. So you can kind of pick and choose something that really suits you. So if we scroll back to the top and take a look at the user settings. So these are predefined user settings. You don't have too much choice here. You have obviously the lower frequencies and all the way up to the higher frequencies. For EQ, BBE Plus, you have some bass settings, some surround settings, and some stereo field widening technology. I find a lot of these just introduce distortion, and you're probably better off sticking with one of the preset settings, because if you adjust the EQ any more than really this level here, then headphones don't seem to handle it. And I have some good headphones, so I know that this is not really a useful feature. The best thing to do is pick one of these and stick with it. Some of the other ones are actually not that good because they introduce things like reverb. And reverb is really something just for playing around with. It's not, it doesn't preserve the original sound of the audio. So what we can do is we can take a look at some of the other audio that's on here. So we have this slide bar which allows you to navigate down through the songs. So at the bottom here you have songs. If you want to look at it from an album view, again you can see some album art. Scroll through, pick the album you're interested in. It should go in, and then there you get the list of songs. You can also browse on artist or on genre, or you can even go to have some bookmarks. I haven't set any bookmarks up here at the moment, and then you can have your own folders. In terms of sound quality, it's very good, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I have actually got a Sony X-Series Walkman, and I find the Sony's audio is actually crisper, the bass is clearer, there's less distortion, even though there are less possibilities to adjust the audio to your liking. I find that the audio from the Sony is actually slightly better, even playing the difference between FLAC and high bitrate MP3. So that's what the audio looks like. There are some other applications because this really is an Android type of device. So we have a video player. Now this really is quite a strong part of this device. If you're used to some other media players who probably don't like the fact that you have to transcode audio or video down into a format that will play on your player, for example if you have an iPod or even a Sony Walkman, this is a constant problem. With this device you can pretty much play any format. That includes MKVs, so it's a very powerful device. You could just take the movie and copy it straight on and play it even huge 1080p videos will just play straight on the device. The screen is not the brightest, but I'll just play for a second so you get an idea. Some nice features are actually that you can adjust the zoom. You can zoom right down, or you can zoom right back up. Sound in the videos is very good. It's got the ability to play AC3 files as well, so that's another massively powerful feature. You can play the video just like the audio. You can play it faster or slower. Scrolling is quite quick. I just scroll forward there a little bit more. You probably can't hear, but it's just the volume. We have a built-in speaker here, so you can watch the film there. Also, if you flick it up like this, upside down, it preserves the movie, so it gets it into the right orientation. You can't actually watch the video like that, but you can watch it like this. So taking it back to the videos again. In terms of navigation around the whole video interface, again, this strange arrow, which again looks like it's part of the movie or something. Select the arrow, and then you see thumbnails, bookmarks, or folders. So in this case, we scroll up, pick the video you want, and hit go. You can also, hopefully, view it like this. Maybe not. Okay. Go back to the home screen, so that's the movie part of it. We have the internet. We also have these applications. So we have music videos, we have a built-in radio, a browser, the ability to view text documents. You can have a recorder. There's a microphone hole in the back here, a paint application, task manager, which you would see on any Android phone, and then Twitter app and something called JetVD, which is a Cowon YouTube application. If you go into that, you get an interface like this. So you have videos, you can view the comments, related videos, and the videos themselves. Again, that's reasonable. It's the normal interface for mobile YouTube. Task manager, settings. Let's take a look at settings. In here, again, very Android-like. You have your wireless and network setting. We have Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth is off, sound settings. So media volume, max. Actually, just as I'm making this video here, the audio is quite low on the speaker, so you really can't depend on the speaker. You have to use the headphones that are provided. I haven't shown the headphones here. Okay. There is some haptic feedback as well for those who are interested, because these buttons are not real buttons, they're just touch sensitive glass. So when you touch them, you get some sort of feedback. A couple of more powerful things: you get SPDIF capability, you get the ability to output HDMI direct to a big screen TV. Again, another big plus. You have the usual settings you'd see on D3. System updates, battery use, legal information. So just summing up, it is a nice device, but it really is hobbled by some very poor execution. The software on this is very, very poor. I often find that the machine will skip when playing audio, that it slows down, it gets caught out, it can lock up. So you're out walking and next minute you get stuck on a track, just like you would if you were on a CD player. And you can't get out of it. The only way out is to use a reset. So there's a tiny little reset hole here. You need a pin or something very sharp to go in there and to reset it. In terms of competition, it is a powerful device, but I really feel that Cowon need to do something here. The performance of the device is very poor. The processor seems to be underpowered. I think overall you can't do much more than have a look. So that's it. Cowon D3.